Welcome to the Queen City of Charlotte, North Carolina. You are watching A-Sun Women's Basketball on ESPN+. It is homecoming in the Queen City. Homecoming 2024, a basketball doubleheader as we start on the women's side of things for the Queens Royals as they welcome the governors of Austin Peay for some Saturday afternoon basketball here in the A-Sun. Hi, everybody. Thrilled to have you with us alongside 10-time North Carolina State champion head coach Josh Springer. My name is John Gross. And Josh, homecoming, always a fun time of the year.
Beautiful day in the Queen City today. Always great to be with you, John. Let's have some fun today.
It should be an interesting matchup here in conference play. It is February. These games always mean a little bit more. And for Queens, Nikki Quinn also chasing an impressive milestone.
Nikki's been magical for the home team today. For them to get a win in conference play, she's got to heat up beyond the arc like we've seen her countless times this year as she's closing in on that magical 1,000-point mark.
Quinn had 18 points last game, 12 points away from 1,000 in her college career. Let's take a look at the starting lineups today, brought to you by Atrium Health. And this is the starting lineup that head coach Jen Brown sends out for the Royals.
Well, it starts right here in the backcourt here. Jordan Weaver, 33-point performance recently, just dominating the glass on both ends of the floor, which is one of our big keys today. Who's going to get the extra possessions? Jordan Weaver's been spearheading that for the home team.
And important to note, Adia Brisker is in the starting five with limited last game after a really strong first quarter, which saw her score 7 points. Meanwhile, Austin Peay, led by third-year head coach Brittany Young. This team had some injuries late in the non-conference, but the starting lineup has been solidified as of late.
Absolutely, and they're coming off a big win against Kennesaw State after an uncharacteristic 5-game losing streak. And so you come into a game like this today, Queens looking to get their first A-Sun win we know on the season. Let's see if they can do that against an Austin Peay team.
And let's welcome in the third member of our team, Hannah Brady, who was more in the matchup, including a historic milestone for Austin Peay's head coach.
Well, guys, after the Governors' win against Kennesaw State, this marked head coach Brittany Young's 47th win in her career, making her the winningest coach in program history and ending a 5-game losing streak. I asked her what the mantra has been rallying around this team despite such adversity, and she said, double up. We have 2 games at least every week, so it's been about focusing on one game at a time and just being where our feet are going up against a team like Queens. She says we know that they're going to put in a fight today, so we have to be ready for that. And on the other hand, for Queens, still searching for their first conference win here at home. It's homecoming for the Royals, and they're a team that still likes to be aggressive down the stretch, and they're going to find ways to compete. Now, they're a team that is going to find ways to be on both ends of the ball defensively and just be aggressive, but this could very well be a turning point with a win today for the Royals for the rest of the season, guys.
Thanks, Hannah. And as Hannah mentioned, 47 wins now for Brittany Young. That's the most through 3 seasons in Austin Peay history. And you see Jen Brown here on your screen, her 4th season in charge. Looking to turn things around. You still have a decent chunk of the season left, and maybe the homecoming magic is something that can elevate this squad to a win today.
We're just kicking off here, John, and you can feel the energy in here has been better than I've seen in here all year. That is a huge, huge difference maker for the home team. I want to see this home crew really, really rally behind the Royals today for a fast start.
And there is head coach Brittany Young, and you also see a free throw to start the basketball game as C.T. Haywood heads to the free throw line. There was an administrative technical foul against Queens prior to the game because the Royals did not get the lineups in the books prior to the mandated 10-minute mark. And this is the second time that the Royals have been assessed with an administrative technical foul this season.
As a coach of a program, this is a really hard one to swallow. This is a difficult way to start the game, unfortunately giving the opposing team 2 points to start the game. And now let's see if Queens can overcome that starting off.
And the last time that happened for Queens came against Jacksonville. 2 free throws. They lost the game by 2 points. Opening tip is controlled by Anala Nelson. We are underway, the third all-time meeting between Austin Peay and the Royals of Queens. Austin Peay coming off of a win against Kennesaw State, snapped a 5-game losing streak. Layup off the mark, offensive rebound corralled by Nelson. 5 of the shot clock. Here's Lanaya Foster, the lone freshman of this roster. Turnaround off the iron, and it's brought in by Ward. Tia Brisker, who had 7 points in the first quarter last game, suffered an apparent injury in that first quarter. Hardly played the rest of the game. Good to see her back in the lineup for Queens. There's Nikki Gwynn, 12 away from 1,000. Gwynn off the front rim. Nelson, the sophomore, has started all 53 games of her Austin Peay career. Straight on 3. It's Haywood, the veteran. Off the mark. There's Gwynn to the rebound. Searching for Ward down low, and an Aaron Fee turns it over.
I'm looking at this post battle early on here. Obviously, Shamari Hale, a huge post presence for Austin Peay. Notice her left hand heavily taped up. Looks like she's got a couple issues with digits on that left hand here. I'm curious to see how does that affect her catching post feeds for the Govs here.
Hale, truly one of the premier 5s in the conference. You see her go to work down low against Ward. Off the window and in, plus the whistle.
No secret why the Govs are going inside early to Hale, a dominant force in there. I actually thought Ward did a pretty good job staying straight up. I want to see this on the replay here. She's straight up, spin back, and I thought she had the ball there, but obviously the referee was closer than I was on it. I didn't love that call.
Shamari Hale chanced at a three-point play, the 73% free throw shooter, who, by the way, leads the conference in field goal percentage at 61%.
That means you should throw it to her every single time down the court, because every coach in America is taking 60% from the floor.
And that's what head coach Brittany Young said. She said, hey, we know every team realizes that she's the focal point of our offense. It is no secret that we run things through her.
Well, but from an X and O point of view, either she gets a basket at 60% or you force the other team to command a double team on her, which gives someone else a wide open jump shot.
Hale, a premier post player in the conference, as Gwynn comes up short of the 3-ball. And Nelson has the rebound, chucks down the floor. Douglas will pull it out. Austin Peay looking to win consecutive games after the 5-game losing streak. Team enters today in 8th place of the conference. Knocked away, heads down to Queens.
I love the action Austin Peay ran right there. They ran what's called an Iverson cut, a 1-4 high over-under, and then came to some horns action, which is a double high ball screen. Unfortunately for them, they dribbled it off their knee right out of bounds.
Queens looking to crack the scoreboard. Queens had a very impressive first quarter last game against Lipscomb. It was a 13-point loss. But in many ways, one of the more complete performances that we've seen from this Queens team all season. Brisker bumps, floats, off the mark.
One of the things you notice early on, John, the physicality, length, and athleticism of Austin Peay is giving Queens a lot of problems. They're having a hard time getting the ball in deep paint penetration.
And Hale lays it in, and that's something that you touched on when we were watching warm-ups. You were blown away by the size and athleticism of Austin Peay.
Austin Peay is long at every single spot. They are big, athletic, physical, and again, through four possessions, I haven't seen Queens get a good paint touch yet. Now they're going to need Nikki Gwynn to hit a whole lot of those bombs to stay in it today.
991 career points for Nikki Gwynn after that 3-ball. Had 18 points last game against Lipscomb. Really good bounce-back performance for Gwynn after being 0 for 12 the previous game. Foster, 3-ball. That hops off, and Gwynn brings in the rebound. Allie Johnson, second straight start for her at point guard. Weaver is fouled.
I like what Jordan Weaver did there, attacking the long closeout. We tell our players all the time, when the other team has a long recovery to you, that's the time to drive it immediately. They got the Austin Peay defender out of position right there. Number 15, Haywood, didn't get her body in front of Weaver. That's why Weaver's going to the charity stripe for 2 free throws.
Weaver, the 74% free throw shooter. See those numbers, leads the league in rebounds per game And I'm honored to be sitting right next to the president of the Jordan Weaver fan club.
So I've put a lot of things on my resume in 43 years on this earth, but the one that is at the top right now is president of the Jordan Weaver fan club. Every time I do a Queens game, every time I watch her play, my coaching eyes just tell me I love this kid. She maximizes her talent. Her motor is relentless. And yes, I'm still the sitting president of the Jordan Weaver fan club.
Can I be the vice president?
Of course. Plenty of room in the cabinet.
14 points for her last game, 8 rebounds. Oh, nice feed underneath as it's laid in by Lanaya Foster, the only freshman on the Austin Peay roster.
And not only the only freshman, the two-time A-Sun Freshman of the Week. She is not here for decoration. She has made a major, major impact for the Govs.
Especially in conference play as Johnson sinks a mid-range jumper. Lanaya Foster in the last bucket for Austin Peay has scored in double figures 5 of her last 6 games. Here is the freshman. Nelson into a double team, held ball, possession arrow, favors Queens.
Just one more nugget on Foster. It takes a lot to be able to come in and play at the college level as a freshman. From a physical skill set point of view, from a stamina point of view, from a basketball IQ point of view, and it's obvious that Coach Young has an insane amount of trust in Foster. It is February. Coaches play deep benches in November. In February, they do not. They shrink their benches to the kids they trust, and she obviously trusts Foster a great deal.
Yeah, and Coach Young told us earlier this week that she feels Foster has to be the most mature freshman in the country to come into a situation like this and produce the way that she has.
Nobody else on that roster feels what she does every day in practice. The team is littered with veterans. The team is littered with grad school transfers. And so she can't turn to anybody else and say, how's your freshman year going?
6 grad students on this team. 3 ball. Cater, the junior off the back rim, and Tiziana Weesey, her first action of the game, brings in the miss. Queens down by 1. Westmoreland, it's an air ball. And that will bring us to our first media timeout. 8-7. The Govs lead the Royals on this homecoming Saturday afternoon in the Queen City.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above, where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark, where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness, where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
You want change. You want a community that supports you. You want the knowledge it takes to make a difference in this world. It's time to be more. It's time to be better. It's time to grow. The world you want to see starts with you. The life you want begins at Austin Peay State University. Learn more at apsu.edu.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. here, Royals rise.
4:30 to go here in the first quarter. 8-7 Austin Peay in front. Let's take a look at today's keys to the game, brought to you by Kramer Group Realty.
Well, I think early on, John, here, it's all about possession. Some days you might shoot it well, some days you might not. How do you get more possession? Second chance points. Queens has got to get on the offensive glass, and in talking to Coach Young from Austin Peay, she was really concerned about that. Her team gave up 21 offensive rebounds in their last game out. Thus far, Queens has 0 offensive rebounds. They've shot it fairly well to stay in it, but they're going to have to give themselves multiple possessions, extra ones here today.
And the good news for Queens on that front, they have the #1 offensive rebounder in the conference in Jordan Weaver on their side. Out of the media timeout, Austin Peay leads it by 1. This is a fairly new-look roster. 8 newcomers, 7 transfers, just 1 freshman as we touched on. As they look to break down this Queens zone, it's Nelson to the soft spot who sinks the free throw line, Jay.
Love the ball reversal by Austin Peay there. 2 ball reversals and then a paint touch. Great paint touch, just a forward pivot, nice easy 15-footer.
Nelson now running that point guard spot with the injury to Sandra Lynn. Gwynn catch and shoot 3 ball. It's an air ball. There is Weaver on the offensive rebounds, and on cue, Jordan Weaver shows us why she's the #1 offensive rebounder in the conference.
Well, and I'm telling you right now, John, she needs 6 or 8 of those today for Queens on the offensive end, period. Queens has got to get some paint touches. They are living and dying on the arc, which is okay as long as it comes after dribble penetration, as long as it comes after a post feed. But you can't just make 2 passes on the perimeter and chuck it.
Well, loose ball knocked around and eventually brought in by Gabby Zapata-Smalls. And a whistle as well. And they reset the shot clock to 30. Nelson, sophomore, off the screen, blows by Westmoreland, off the window, falls off. Gwynn races ahead with it. Johnson floats down low. There's Westmoreland. There's that paint touch you're looking for. Layup doesn't go. Comes right back to Gwynn. Her floater goes. 5 points for Nikki Gwynn.
Again, they need extra possessions. The last 2 trips, they've gotten offensive rebounds. That one key to bucket. Way to stay in the play, Nikki Gwynn.
Now 7 points away from becoming the 16th Queens player with 1,000 career points, and a travel gives it right back to Queens.
Hale checking back in the ball game for Austin Peay here. I would be shocked if she doesn't touch it on the right block the next trip.
We saw her do her thing earlier in this game. They call her Tank, by the way. That is a very fitting nickname.
Truer words were never said, John.
Here is Gwynn. Drive and dish. And we see call for the push-up.
Easy call right there for the referee. Defender in legal guarding position. Unfortunately, Queens cleared out with that offhand.
That's one of Weesey's go-to moves as well. She routinely works on that and shoot around. Well, the offensive there.
Queens in a matchup 2-3 zone here, trying to help protect the paint, trying to limit Hale, and let's see if the Govs now get an open wing 3.
Nelson.
Beautiful high-low look. My fault, John. I couldn't help it. Great patience in the high post. Hale sealed down low and got an easy bucket. It is hard to help when the feed comes from the high post. It's easy to help when the feed comes right wing or left wing, but the best place to feed the post is always from the top of the key, or in that case, the free throw line.
And Nelson, a tremendous distributor. 3rd in the A-Sun in assists per game as it heads down to Austin Peay. As Kennedy Fuller replaces Nikki Gwynn. Fuller had a career-high 6 assists last game, and just 7 assists all season entering that game. Also coming on for Queens is Tamia Shaw and Kamaya Ward, both players who started their college careers at Austin Peay.
I'll bet they had a lot to do with the scouting report today. Coach, I know this symbol. Coach, I know this signal. Coach, I know their personnel and tendencies. You know they're amped up for today.
Yeah, both players were at Austin Peay 2 seasons ago for the first year of Brittany Young's tenure in Clarksville, Tennessee. There is Hale down low. Rebound deflected out right in the hands of Taya Douglas. Cater. There is Foster. Hale goes to work. Weesey on the help, and Weesey is whistled for the foul.
Hale again with early post position at the front of the rim, and Weesey's just too late on the double team here. You can tell the scout is, hey, when she puts it on the floor, go double Hale, make Hale a passer. Sometimes that's easier said than done, especially when the feed is from the top like we just mentioned. Hale's tall, long, athletic, strong. It's difficult to get it out of her hands right there. You just want to try to stay straight up and contest as much as possible without putting her on the line.
Which is so tough to do. I mean, she routinely gets to the free throw line. We're seeing why. 73% foul shooter.
I'm still marveling over that 61% field goal percentage.
61%, and this is an Austin Peay team that leads the ASUN in field goal percentage overall. 45% from the field as a group.
When your best player shoots 61%, that'll help the team percentage in a hurry.
No doubt about it. As Gwynn is fouled, she goes against Abby Cater.
Well, and here's my concern for the Royals. Almost everything on the offensive end has started and ended with Nikki Gwynn. She's not going to be able to do it by herself. So who can be the secondary or third playmaker scorer for the Royals to generate offense?
That's been the question for this Queens team for a decent chunk of the season. As Gwynn works baseline, leaves it short. Hargrove has the miss. Hale, the drop step. Left it short. Good defense by Ward as Buller pushes. Finds the rim runner, Ward. And it's knocked away. Cater on the move. The sidestep, the flip, and she gets it to go.
That's a killer for the Royals. They got to stop. Great defense by Ward. We rewarded the rim runner, as you said. And we need to be able to convert down there if you're a Royals fan, because if you don't, you saw it was easy transition for Austin Peay.
Weaver, desperation, and a couple seconds to work with there. And Hale brings in the rebound to wrap up the first quarter. Austin Peay ends the frame on a 6-0 run over the final 2 minutes. They lead it 16-9 here in the Queen City.
Welcome back inside Curry Arena for the second half, where the Governors are up 16-9. I'm here in the stands with the Charlotte area Girl Scouts as they are in attendance for today's game. Not only is it homecoming, but it's National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. What an amazing example for these young girls, that they can be whatever they want to be, whether that's a Girl Scout and whatever that is working in sports or a Division I athlete. And guys, they might even convince me to buy a couple of Girl Scout cookies by the end of this one today.
I'll be right there with you. I'll be buying some of those shortbread cookies. Those are my go-tos.
My waistline says that I have bought 86 boxes of Samoas in the last decade.
There's nothing wrong with that. It goes to a good cause.
Physical health and mental health in a good place right there.
No doubt about it. And as Hannah said, it is the National Girls and Women in Sports Day game. The official national day is on February 7th as it heads down to Queens. And you have an interesting perspective as well, having coached in women's basketball at the high school and the collegiate level. What does this day mean to you?
It's a tremendous day to celebrate women across the globe. Obviously, we focus on the sport of basketball. The opportunities that these ladies have today at the professional, college, high school, middle school level are due to the backs of literally thousands of women that have come before over the last 20, 30 years. And in my 27 years of coaching, it's been amazing to see the evolution. Look at this day today, John. This game is on TV. All these Division I games are on TV, Division II games, Division III games, high school games. The network, the publicity for women globally is exciting for all.
It is incredible, just the growth of women's sports in general, as Gwynn is off the mark. There's Weaver. Flanks in the jumper, and a loose ball foul drawn by Kamaya Ward.
Kamaya Ward is quietly doing an outstanding job in the paint. Now, I am president of the Jordan Weaver fan club, but she missed Kamaya Ward right there. She was wide open on a high-low, and instead of pouting, Ward battled and fought for position to get Queens another possession. That was after her doing a great job standing straight up in the paint, altering another shot on the other end.
Gwynn off the inbound. Gwynn thinks that she has 7, and she is now 5 points away from 1,000.
Well, I said earlier, Queens can't win with Nikki doing it by herself, but thus far she's leading the team in points, rebounds, and steals today. She's going to try.
3 of 8 from the field is Gwynn. Her first year at Queens after a couple of seasons at South Carolina State. And a whistle down low, heads down to the Royals.
Again, Kamaya Ward's interior defense. She helped on the drive. She recovered to Hale, caused a turnover for the visitors. All of that won't show up in the box score, but I can guarantee you there's a reason Coach Brown and company are dying to keep her on the floor.
Ward's somebody who played at Austin Peay for 2 seasons. 30 appearances for the Governors, 8 starts. Very familiar with this Austin Peay program as Brisker misses the jumper. Weaver on the offensive rebounds.
Brisker is much more comfortable at 15, 16 feet than she is on the arc.
Gwynn can't get it to go. Ward the offensive rebound, and Ward is fouled.
Okay, so I'm going to have to ask for some dual presidential suite here on president of the Jordan Weaver fan club and now president of the Kamaya Ward fan club. I'm going to keep talking about her because that's about the 6th trip in a row she has made a difference for Queens. Again, making something out of nothing. When the offense breaks down, when we don't hit our first shot, she just makes an effort play and now goes to the line for Queens.
As Ward hits in the free throw, I think it could be perfect. You're the president and prime minister. I think that's the best way to look at it.
There we go. Those would be the 2 kindest things anybody's ever said of me, so I'll take it.
Ward misses on the second. Hale snatches down the rebound. One of the best rebounders in the conference. Nelson, quick trigger, and a long rebound nearly brought in by Cater. Heads down to Queens, down by 4.
I'm impressed with Queens' commitment on the defensive end. This game could have gotten away from them when Hale was having her way inside. And yes, their offense is uneven, but they only find themselves down 4 points right now as we approach the middle of the second quarter.
Queens looking for conference win number 1. Meanwhile, Austin Peay trying to claim back-to-back conference wins after losing 5 conference games in a row. Gwynn off the Ward screen, finds Ward inside, misses the layup. In transition, Douglas to the basket.
So this is the second time Queens has missed a layup, and you can count as a coach, when your team misses a layup, 9 out of 10 times it feels like the other team will lay it in on the other end. So not only did we miss out on the 2 points on this end, it's a 4-point swing as they laid it in.
Weaver is fouled by Lanaya Foster. That is the third team foul against Austin Peay.
One other thing to be aware of is Austin Peay's ball screen coverage. It's called icing the ball screen. When the ball screen's on the wing like it was last trip for Queens, the defender gets on the high side to try to make the offensive player only be able to use a quarter of the court going towards the baseline. Queens had good patience last time and hit the roll. Ward just missed the bunny.
How do you counter that when they're icing the screen?
Well, one of the things you do is, again, they use their backup dribble to create more space, and then they change direction again, and again, really show great patience on Ward on the slip, bounce pass for the layup.
Queens now shooting just 20% from the field. There's an open look. It's Taya Douglas from distance.
When we were out here in pregame, Douglas was the first person I saw shooting threes, and I thought, boy, she really cocks that three back deep over the top of her head. Obviously, she can get it off over anyone. She's a long, athletic player. That was a bucket the Govs needed.
She was the leading three-point shooter on this team last year at 33%. Now just 18% on threes this season as the Weaver's layup lips out. And Hargrove is hacked in transition.
And I'm okay with that foul. We call that a code red foul in our program. Means we're asking for the foul because that's only the first team foul on Queens. It stops the basket. It allows your defense to set up. Let's play 5-on-5 instead of letting the Govs have a 4-on-2 break.
First foul against Weaver as you see Hale head to the bench. Changes for Queens as well. Fuller heads on, as does Caitlin Adams, her first appearance of the game. Foster, in her fifth consecutive start in the lane, hops off, and there's Fuller on the miss. And her feed nearly intercepted, brought in by Adams. Queens over its last 5 from the field. Royals haven't scored in about 2.5 minutes. Gwynn looking to break that cold spell. Off the mark, offensive rebound for Ward. Her layup doesn't fall, and Adams is called for the foul.
I feel for Ward, and I keep mentioning her name. She's doing all the little things well. If she can just finish a little bit better. Right now, she probably feels like she should have 7-8 points. She's sitting on 1 point in the game. Her effort is there. Her offensive rebounding is there. She's just got to finish the ones near the rim.
5 rebounds for her, but now 0 for 2 from the field. Drive and dish. There's Nelson. Standout sophomore. Nelson again, thought about it, and she traveled.
Great idea there, but unfortunately for Nelson, she didn't keep that back foot down. Otherwise, she had a nice drive down the lane here. I go back to where does the offense come from? Again, right here, good shot fake, and the referee said she picked up the back foot there before getting to the rim. Where does the offense come from for Queens? Sitting on 12 in the middle of the second quarter. Again, can anyone other than Gwynn create their own shot?
Ward deep inside. Ward can't get it to go. 0 for 3 on the interior. Nelson dumps it off. Foster turned away by Kamaya Ward, who had 4 blocks last game. And Brisker has the interception. Brisker inside, floater short. Rebounded by Douglas. And a timeout called by Brittany Young. That brings us to immediate timeout. Austin Peay leads it by 9, just past the midway point of the second quarter.
Oh, man. There's nothing I love more than a good trail mix. But a mountain bike trail, not so much. Oh, hey. My pedal. Wonder where the other one is.
From urgent care to your full recovery, Ortho Carolina is there every step of the way.
Good day, though. Good day.
You see that? That's when I realized I'm ready to start my own place.
Yeah, I'm really excited. All right, that sounds great.
So I'm making plans for right now. I'm going back to my roots and opening my own restaurant. Start your plan today with a Northwestern Mutual financial advisor and spend your life living.
The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 4th. Visit asunsports.org for more information. Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above. Where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark. Where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness. Where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination. The end of our journey is drawing near. Across 8 states and 16 million homes, there can only be one Atlantic Sun champion. March is the destination. It all kicks off March 8th. Visit asunsports.org for more information.
Here, strength comes from within. Practice makes perfect.
And curiosity knows no bounds.
I believe Queens graduates will create a better tomorrow. Where we go next? That's up to us.
Queens 0 for its last 9 from the field, held to 12 points. Just past the midway point of the second quarter, Josh, what do you want to see from them to try to spark this offense a bit?
Yeah, a couple things that really concern me, John. Queens is 4 for 25 from the floor, 16%. And to make matters worse, Nikki Gwynn has 3 of those 4. So we've harped on where's the offense come from. What do we want to see? A couple keys to great offensive execution, ball reversal. Get at least 2 ball reversals every single time down the floor. 30 seconds is a long time to get a shot off. Give the defense a chance to break down. And then secondly, you got to have a paint touch every single time. I think if Queens can do those 2 things, they can get higher percentage looks. And then you've got to finish the easy ones, like Ward has had the last couple trips down.
Perfect passing to break down that 2-3 as it's laid in by Kurteria Haywood.
One of the biggest myths out there about zone offense is that you have to make a lot of threes to get teams out of a zone. Austin Peay has said, no, we're going to attack you high-low at the free throw line and on a high-low. I love that they're staying with their strength, which is post play, and they feel like they can hurt Queens at the rim.
On the opposite end, Kurteria Haywood calls for the foul as Weaver gets inside. So there is that paint touch that you were looking for as Weaver earns a trip to the free throw line.
Now the key is cashing in at the line as well. Right now, obviously, for the Govs, there's 4 team fouls, which means Queens will be shooting from the line for the next 4 minutes. Now, you only get to go to the line if you stay aggressive in attacking and put the other team in compromising defensive rotation.
Weaver off in the first. Queens now 3 of 5 from the charity stripe as Hawa Balde, who missed the last 2 games, makes her way to the scorers table for the Royals. And Weaver missed them both. But Ward, able to tap it off of Hale, stays with Queens.
Another unsung hustle play. That will just go down on the stat sheet that we get as a team rebound. 9 out of 10 players would have let Hale have it. And Ward said, no, I'm going to battle for it, and I'm going to battle for it. And now Queens gets another trip.
Balde comes in for Ward. Weaver finds Brisker, looking for her first point. Johnston, 10 of the shot clock. Johnson, still looking. Johnson, desperation and a shot clock violation.
The good news is Johnson heeded my advice of having the team utilize all 30 seconds. The bad news for Queens is that Austin Peay is doing a great job containing the ball handler in a one-on-one situation. So Queens needs to get more screening action to help free each other up.
Queens now 4 of 26 from the field. The one thing keeping Queens in this game is its defense. Austin Peay only with 7 points in the second quarter on a 7-0 run. Cater thought about it. Cater attacks on Balde, and Hawa Balde is called for the foul.
If I'm Coach Jem Brown, I'm really frustrated by this because you have a 6'4" rim protector. Hawa Balde's in outstanding position, one of the leading shot blockers in the A-Sun over the last couple of years. That would have been an incredibly difficult finish for Cater, and I hate if I'm Queens that we just bailed her out and put her on the line, and she makes it.
Balde, her first foul, team's third. Cater, her first season at Austin Peay. Spent 2 seasons at a really good JUCO program, Trinity Valley Community College. Hits it both.
Well, we talk about the little things here, John. Queens just went 0 for 2 from the free throw line. Austin Peay just went 2 for 2 from the free throw line. So both teams had the exact same opportunity here in the last 60 seconds. And right now, again, it's beating a dead horse, but Queens' offense has to help their defense.
Queens 0 for its last 9. And it's gone the last 5+ minutes without scoring. Gwynn comes back on. Weaver penetrates, flip shot, falls off the iron. Balde battles for the loose ball, and it's scooped up by the visitors. And Cater travels.
That's one of the things keeping Queens in the game is that Austin Peay has, I believe, 7 turnovers right now currently, 8 turnovers now, which is 3 more than Queens. And so Queens is not shooting the ball well, but they are taking better care of the basketball.
Holding Austin Peay thus far to 25 points in this first half. Here is Gwynn, 5 points away from 1,000. Gwynn, her shot blocked by Cater. Nelson pushes. Nelson all the way to the basket, and she'll shoot 2.
That was a physical play. That was a weight room play right there. Nelson attacked the basket, got her right elbow into the defender. Watch right here. Contact with Johnson here. One more dribble. Contact again. Leaned in. Did a good job drawing the foul going to the line.
Foul against Allie Johnson. A trio of changes for Queens. The 2 former Austin Peay players in Sean Ward back on the floor in addition to Kennedy Fuller. As Nelson hits the first. And she's made that big jump from freshman to sophomore year and has doubled her production in points per game, rebounds per game, and assists per game from last year.
One of the things that you just mentioned that jumps out at me is when you said freshman year to sophomore year. High school freshman to sophomore, college freshman to sophomore. Freshman year, let's be honest, you're just trying to survive. You're just trying to figure out how to put the practice jersey on right, where the locker room is, and how to get through practice. Most players are. Sophomore year, I understand the coach's terminology. I understand expectations. I understand my role on the team. And so it's never surprising to me when sophomores make huge jumps.
And Nelson is somebody who was really thrown into the fire from day one last year. This is her 53rd career start. She started every game that she's played. Last year, though, Coach Young said she was able to rely on some veterans a bit. This year, she does not have that same luxury.
Well, Nelson put up 21 points at Rupp Arena at Kentucky in November. When you kick off your sophomore year scoring 20 at an SEC powerhouse, I know you can play.
And that was a win for Austin Peay. They beat the Wildcats on the road. And again, it's Nelson inside who earns the trip to the free throw line.
She wants us to keep talking about her. She says, John, Josh, 2 minutes. Keep talking about Nelson here.
There's a lot to talk about for a very talented player who, you want to talk about experience. She is young in college for sure, but she has started in her last 7 seasons of basketball. A 5-year starter in high school at the varsity level, and now a 2-year starter in college.
How long has Queens been sitting on 12, John?
6 minutes and 26 seconds.
I can ask difficult questions like that, ladies and gentlemen, and John has the answer to it all. We're here with the pro today.
Hey, that's my job. Got to have those answers. Have to credit the stats, though. Here's Fuller. Final minute 40 of this second quarter as Queens looks to snap that now 6.5+ minute scoreless streak, and Shaw's called for the travel.
There just hasn't been anywhere to go on penetration drives. Every time Queens puts the ball on the floor, they're getting stopped early, and I mean outside the paint. There just hasn't been anywhere to go, and unfortunately Shaw took an early step right there. Let's see if Queens can get a couple stops and get this thing down to 10 in the last minute and a half.
Shaw replaced by Adia Brisker. Austin Peay hasn't made a field goal in the last 2:45, and it's intercepted by Fuller. Fuller finds Ward, battles inside, and a blocking foul's called.
I love to see post players get rewarded, and the toughest part of this play...
Oh, travel.
I was just going to say the toughest part was Ward keeping her foot so she didn't travel. And now the one referee overruled the other and said that she did travel. Let's take a look here. Catching it on the run, left, right. Not able to see the lower body right there. Difficult for a post player to catch on the run. Obviously, you get 2 steps before a layup there. Obviously, the referee saw it differently.
Yeah, Christy Wee ran in and said that was a travel before the whistle. As we approach the final 60 seconds. Queens has gone the last about 7.5 minutes without scoring. Just 3 points in this second quarter. Gwynn draws the foul, and Nikki Gwynn to the free throw line with Queens down the bonus.
One of the things I'm noticing, Queens is doing a good job of trying to set high ball screens to get paint touches. The Queens guards are not running their shoulder off the hip of the post player. The post player cannot move. We know that, or it's a moving screen. Watch the screening action into the second half here, folks, and see, is the guard getting off the screen of the post player? Because otherwise, quite frankly, there's no point in setting the screen if you can't create the advantage. I think the Queens ball handler can get flatter, meaning towards the basket, so they have a better angle of utilizing the ball screen.
On a rare 0 for 2 trip to the line for Queens from Nikki Gwynn. The Royals now 3 of 8 from the free throw line. The blow by from Cater, who is fouled by Ward. That is the second personal on Ward, and 2 free throws in the way for Abby Cater.
Cater did a really, really nice job of utilizing a shot fake. She utilized the shot fake, got the Queens defenders in the air, attacked the rim, the rotation was late, and now she's back at the line. And we keep saying this, but I believe Queens has missed their last 4 at the line, which when you're struggling offensively, you need every little bit you can get to get the offense going. And Austin Peay at the line here, well, Cater missed as well. I was trying to set her up for one there since she made it last time out.
Still 9 for 12, an efficient number for the Governors.
I will say at the high school, college, pro level, every team in America will take 75% for the half.
And on the season, they're 66% from the line, so shooting a bit above that number as she splits the pair, and Austin Peay extends its lead to 17, running a 12-0 run.
Well, but you say a 12-0 run, usually that happens in the middle of 40 seconds or a minute 38. There's 3 steals in a run out. This has been the slowest, most methodical 12-0 run I've seen in 3 months. And it's because, unfortunately, it's been a light year since Queens has scored.
Well, Nikki Gwynn a chance to change that. Back to the free throw line after missing her last 2 foul shots. 5 points away from 1,000 in her career. She would become the 16th Queens player to reach that milestone after Adia Brisker did it earlier this season. And Gwynn now 0 for 3 from the charity stripe. And that one goes.
Thank goodness for the soft rim.
Certainly good for Gwynn to see one go through there. Now 4 points away from 1,000. Also ends an 8-minute and 1-second scoring drought. Austin Peay can hold for the final shot. They go to who else but Hale. Misses. Brisker has a chance here. Brisker to beat the buzzer. Off the mark, and we head to halftime. Austin Peay a 16-point lead as they hold Queens to 13 points through the first half of action.
Well, it's been all about Austin Peay's defense. I know I'm harping on the lack of Queens' offense. Let's give credit where credit's due. Coach Young has to be ecstatic that she has locked down the Queens' offense to 13 points and a half. And again, for Queens, where does the offense come from after Nikki Gwynn? Let's hope they can utilize some of those ball screens a little better, keep getting the offensive boards, and climb back in this.
Halftime here in the Queen City. You're watching college basketball right here on ESPN+.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
It's halftime at Curry Arena in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Governors of Austin Peay a 29-13 lead on this homecoming Saturday. As we celebrate the beginning of Black History Month, Queens head coach Jen Brown sat down to talk about diversity on campus.
I've been on college campuses for over 2 decades now, as a student, as a coach, and just as a staffer. And to have diversity on your campus, it improves the overall educational experience of everyone there, whether you're a student or if you're a staff or a coach or whatever the case may be. I think just being able to learn from different groups from all over the world is extremely important, and I think your campus should always reflect what the society looks like. I think one of the things we have at Queens is that we are a pioneer in pushing forward diversity amongst our staff and our students. I think that is a clear mission of the university, where someone like me from Brooklyn, New York, a black female, can feel empowered and feel comfortable in her own skin every day. And I don't think that's just a February thing. I think that's an all year round thing. So diversity on campuses is necessary and more than important.
Let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Queens women's basketball team. The Royals wrapping up a 3-game homestand today. Then they head on the road for a couple of games to the state of Kentucky. They take on the Colonels of EKU on February 8th, and then at Bellarmine on the 10th before coming back home for a couple of games against some Florida schools. As you see, all of those games can be seen right here on ESPN+. Halftime of the Queen City continues after this. Austin Peay a 29-13 lead at the half over the Queens Royals. As we start February, let's take a look back at some of the top January moments in Queens sports. Here is Peay and Cardi with the Royals recap.
Happy 2024 Royals Nation. This is your Royals recap. I'm Peay and Cardi. And they say new year, new me. Actually, it's the same Royals and they continue to rise. Let me catch you up on the best moments of Royals athletics this past month. And this one Royal in particular started out 2024 literally falling out of her seat. Jordan, I got something to show you. Can you look at this? Congratulations on being named ASUN Player of the Week for the women's basketball program for the first time ever. After earning ASUN Player of the Week honors in early January, Jordan Weaver finished the month dropping 33 points over North Alabama. The 33 points are the most scored by a Royal in a single game within the past 5 years. On the men's side, Dayton Albury, a top 5 ASUN scorer, was summoned to Coach Leonard's office.
Yeah, you ready? Yeah. Congratulations, your newcomer of the week.
The point guard contributed to league wins over Florida Gulf Coast University and Central Arkansas. Congrats Dayton on capping off January as the ASUN newcomer of the week. Inside Curry Arena, Queens men's volleyball secured 3 straight wins. Head coach Jeremy Price says the team has a little bit something extra than they have had previous seasons.
I think we have more talent to prepare with. I don't think the preparation has necessarily changed. We just are bigger, we're better, and we're deeper.
At the pool deck, ooh la la, senior Danielle Malelli is one step closer to competing at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. At the U.S. Open, Noelle swam a personal best time in the women's 50 freestyle to qualify her for the Olympic trials later this year. Congrats, Danielle. On the tennis court, the Royals men's tennis team earned their first victory of the season on the road over James Madison University. Congrats, fellas. And folks, that's your Royals recap for the latest. Follow at Queens Athletics. Thanks, y'all.
Austin Peay leads it by 16 to the break. We'll be right back with highlights and stats from the first half. Austin Peay leads Queens 29-13 at the break. A homecoming Saturday afternoon here in the Queen City. This A-Sun matchup as the calendar turns to February. So happy to have you all with us. Josh Finger, John Gross, and Josh, what were some of your biggest takeaways from that first half?
Well, I think if I'm Coach Brown, giving up 29 points to the Govs is okay. I'm point for a 58-point defensive effort. But Queens isn't going to win any games with 13 points and a half. Nikki Gwynn has 3 of their 4 baskets. The rest of the team combined with 1. Where does the secondary and the third offensive person scoring option come from for the Royals?
Well, for Austin Peay, 29 points in the first half, and in large part due to the play of Tank Hale on the inside.
Yeah, she's impressive. When you can start your offense with Hale at the rim, and that doesn't mean she has to score it every single time, but it means the ball starts with her, and then the defense has a tough decision to make. Are we going to play her one-on-one and probably give up a basket or get in foul trouble, or are we going to give up open shots? And on the other end, thank goodness for Nikki Gwynn. I know she's in hot pursuit of 1,000 points, and she might need 1,000 in this game for Queens to have a shot. Right now, she's 3 for 10 from the floor. And those numbers aren't great, but they're a lot better than the rest of the team's 1 for 18 from the field.
See some of those numbers right here. Queens shooting 14% from the field. That right there tells the story.
I am a defense-first coach, defense second, defense wins championships coach. However, It is really, really difficult if you can't put the ball in the basket. Coaches always say there is always a place for shooters, and I mean makers on the floor. If you can put the ball in the basket at any level, and obviously Queens is struggling to find a consistent second score.
Let's send it courtside to the third member of our team, Hannah Brady.
Well, guys, I had the opportunity to speak with both coaches at the half, and for Coach Young, she is liking what she's seeing out of her team, but she says she wants more attack. She said we need to move to the ball better, not just stand there, wave our hands around. We are a team that likes to play aggressive, but it's hurting us just a little bit. We need to be more poised with the basketball. And on the other hand, for Coach Jen Brown and her squad, she's looking to stand strong in the offense. She says that the Governors are applying more pressure, and we have to be able to find our groove offensively. We're not finishing at the rim, and it's going to come down to who wants it more, and we have to just get our shots up today, guys.
Thanks, Hannah. And you look back at the first half, and Queens shooting 4 of 28, but there were a couple of really good opportunities underneath to get some easy buckets.
Absolutely. Ward had 2 or 3 that I remember off the top of my head, and then those free throw opportunities, and I'm going to start the second half where I finished the first half. Queens has to get shoulder to hip utilizing the ball screens so the guard can actually draw 2 in the paint.
A 16-point game of the break. Austin Peay in front, trying to win back-to-back ASUN games after a 5-game losing streak. And early on, they go down low to Weaver, who kisses it off the window. Only the second basket made by a Queens player not named Nikki Gwynn.
And again, it started with a high ball screen, a beautiful high ball screen that forced Hale to come out to the ball handler. That allowed the ISO right at the rim for Weaver.
Queens starts things off in a 2-3 zone defensively. Austin Peay very efficient from the field, but they don't love to shoot the 3 ball. As Nelson works inside, and she has made a living at the free throw line today.
Well, and here's what I'll say. Why shoot the 3 when you can get there? Good job off the ball screen here. Thanks for the replay, guys. Great look. Good patience by Johnson. One-on-one, drop step finish. I know the end result was a Weaver layup, but it all started with a good screen by Ward and a good use of the ball screen by Johnson.
And you've touched on this screening quite a bit, and it's such an underrated aspect of basketball.
Nobody wants to do it. Everybody wants to score. Everybody wants to dribble around cones. Everybody wants to shoot off the gun or Dr. Dish. Nobody wants to say, can we spend 30 minutes on screening angles, on physicality, and then the ball handler setting up your screen because the post player cannot move.
Let's see what Queens has in store. After scoring last possession, Gwynn jumper goes. 999 for Nikki Gwynn.
Something tells me the next one will be significant.
Just a little bit. Strong start here from Queens. 4 points this quarter already after 4 points in the entirety of the second quarter. And Gwynn is called for the foul.
So why go to the zone? Queens is in the zone to try to protect themselves against Hale inside. Austin Peay's done a good job of attacking the high post, and believe it or not, this free throw jump shot is harder than you think. Free throws shouldn't be difficult, and most players should be at 70-75%, but most players don't practice catching the ball in traffic, pivoting, and shooting that jump shot. So that's often a shot some teams are willing to give up. I didn't really have a good angle to see if Gwynn got her right there or not, but bottom line, Foster goes right back to the line.
And she hits on the first, the lone freshman on the roster. One of 8 newcomers, 7 of the newcomers are transfers. And that was a big theme really for both of these teams. You look at the starting lineup, the majority of the starters today for both teams, formerly at different colleges. As Gwynn kicks out to Shaw, spins inside and throws it away. Foster ahead of the pack. Foster to the basket. Shows off the speed.
Boy, she is an outstanding combination of size, strength, athleticism, and right there, great fundamentals. Bringing it down the left side, finishing in traffic with her left.
Gwynn, a 999 career points. Turned away initially, and a held ball will send it to Austin Peay.
Did we talk about yet how Nikki Gwynn has 900
99.
90, let's say, more points than I had in my high school career. So we could tally up all 10 of those points in a hurry there. And that's why somebody like me is ridiculously impressed. Obviously, 1,000 points is nothing to sneeze at all. It is incredible amounts of work through the years, and hopeful Nikki will be able to tackle that milestone here shortly.
And work ethic, that is the word that Jen Brown uses, the phrase that she uses to describe Gwynn. She is a gym rat, as Hales fouls inside. Off the beautiful entry feed by Anala Nelson.
You said it right there, John. This pass is difficult, but how about the catch? 9 out of 10 post players would never catch that ball. And you know why guards don't want to throw it? Because whose turnover is it? It's Nelson's turnover. And so through hundreds of hours in practice, they've built up that trust where Hale gives her the look and says, just throw it. I like what Queens did. Queens said, we're going to front you. We're going to make you throw a perfect pass over the top. And unfortunately for Queens, they did. But how about those hands of Hale to catch the ball, not travel, and then all you have is the baseline right behind you there. Highly difficult play.
That last fell the third against Ward. And it is rare and a luxury at times to have a post player as coordinated as Hale is. 18-point lead for Austin Peay. Hawa Balde now in the ball game for Queens in place of Ward. And it's thrown away. Stays here with Queens.
The hard part there is Hawa Balde's not a perimeter threat. You know it, I know it, Austin Peay knows it. So when the post feed goes into Weaver, Hawa Balde's defender just pinched and double teamed her, and Weaver had nowhere to go because Hawa Balde's not going to shoot it outside of 10 feet.
10 of the shot clock for Brisker. Quinn sitting at 9.99. 3-ball for Quinn. Hops off. And Nelson picks up the loose ball. Nelson blows by. Nelson's layup is short. Knocked around. Heads down to Queens. Gabby Zapata Smalls heads on, the grad student from New Jersey. One of 6 grad students on this very veteran Austin Peay roster. Quinn. There's Brisker. And an illegal screen set by Adia Brisker.
So Queen starts out with the dribble weave here, but anytime there's contact, you have to be set. That is the easiest call the referees will have all day. If Brisker wants to go ahead and set the screen, they had 5 or 6 exchanges prior to that, but Brisker has to keep her feet set so then the ball handler can turn the corner.
Turnover number 10 for Queens. Austin Peay leads it by 18 as Hargrove sneaks inside, and a whistle goes against Zapata Smalls.
And we have the exact same action on the other end. Zapata Smalls gets a moving screen here. One good moving screen. I'll call and raise you one. Back to the Royals, their ball.
Oh, they cancel each other out, basically.
That's right.
Queens has gone about 2.5 minutes without scoring. Remember, they had an 8-minute scoring drought in the second quarter. Here's Gwynn. Shakes. Has space. Gwynn doesn't get the bounce. Cater. Hands to Hargrove. Hargrove baseline penetration. Off the window. And Fuller throws it away. Foster on the takeaway. Oh, the spin move. Zapata Smalls is fouled.
I like what Smalls did right there. She knows she's going against an elite shot blocker. So go with the counter move. She showed the ball to the middle and spun baseline because she realized she was quicker than Hawa Balde, and then went to a finish on the weak side and drew the foul.
So 2 free throws for the 68% free throw shooter, Gabby Zapata Smalls. Has some high-level international experience, having played on the Puerto Rican national team. There's a little bit of a pipeline, Austin Peay to the PR national team. Former Govs Nina De Leon Negron and Ariel Gonzalez-Varner both also played for the Puerto Rican national team. Both free throws missed. Fuller speed. Comes right back to her. Dumps it down low. Balde backs in. Balde off the window. And Hawa Balde finishes. Had been scoreless in her last 7 appearances.
Good for her. Austin Peay gambled and missed on the perimeter, and anytime the opponent gambles, you have to make them pay. Queens found Hawa Balde near the basket. She went with something simple, a little hook with her right hand, good finish off the window.
Wide open three clanks out, and underneath Hargrove called for the foul. Third team foul against Austin Peay. Second foul against Alyssa Hargrove. And Lanaya Foster comes off. C.T. Haywood replaces her. Another one of those experienced players. They call her the older lady on this team, but there are a lot of experienced players. 6 grad students. Weaver travels.
John, just to further accentuate your point about grad students, when you throw into it that there's redshirt years and the COVID years that all of these college athletes receive, you can have 24, 25-year-olds competing against 18-year-olds.
Austin Peay leads it by 16 midway point. This homecoming third quarter. Austin Peay head coach Brittany Young is smack dab in the middle of that huddle. The third-year head coach already has 47 career wins, which, as we touched on before, is the most through 3 seasons in program history. She played D2 basketball at Francis Marion in South Carolina, and after a playing career, spent 2 years as a manager then grad assistant under the great Dawn Staley at South Carolina. And Josh, literally at a front row view to her greatness because she was seated in the second row directly behind where Dawn Staley would stand when she was coaching.
When we talked to Coach Young earlier in the week, I was so impressed by her perspective on that note. She said, I was a graduate assistant, and you would think most people would say, oh, I wish I was sitting in the front row, right on the sideline. She said, I preferred the second row, not that I had a choice, but I preferred the second row. I got to see greatness in action. You have to think like a winner and act like a winner, and as she said, that was long before South Carolina was the gold standard for women's basketball in America. This is 15 years ago, and how about what Dawn Staley's done, growing that program from nothing to 15,000 butts in seats every single night. And I will say firsthand as a high school coach, two of my former players, Tiffany Mitchell and Jatari White, went and played for Coach Staley at South Carolina. I've sat at the table with Coach Staley and Lisa Boyer and their staff, and they're the best. There is no secret as to why they are the best in the country. She's a relentless recruiter. She's passionate in the community about every young lady. She develops relationships, and so good on Coach Young for being able to soak up every bit of it with that time with Coach Staley in Columbia.
Hale is fouled by Weaver, her first. And you mentioned it was before the dynasty was a dynasty. Her first season, in fact, Brittany Young's first season at South Carolina, was the first season that South Carolina made the Sweet 16 under Dawn Staley. And she said that was valuable for her, for Coach Young, as a mid-major level coach, because Dawn Staley wasn't getting those McDonald's All-Americans. There were players who thrived in roles, and that's what Brittany Young is trying to recreate at Austin Peay.
Absolutely. Again, the old saying is make the big time where you are. If it's Division III, if it's NAI, if it's a mid-major, or if you're in Dawn Staley's case, if you're Columbia, and everybody sees that now, it wasn't that in 2007, 2008, as it is now in 2024, where everybody in America is dying to play there. Everybody in America is dying to go watch them play. And so, again, Coach Young's taken some pages out of that book. They've got a brand-new arena there in Clarksville. They were top half of the conference last year. There's a lot of positive momentum for Austin Peay there.
You mentioned the new arena in what they call Stashville in Clarksville, Tennessee, F&M Bank Arena. And another illegal screen set by Kamaya Ward.
So Kamaya was trying to set the screen and roll to the basket. The unfortunate part is you cannot roll to the basket, as we're going to see right here. You cannot roll to the basket as the defender is trying to make a play on the ball handler. You can see clearly that's what happened right there, and unfortunately yet another moving screen for the Royals.
That is the fourth foul against Ward. So she heads off. And Hale, just doing so much damage on the inside, will head back to the free throw line.
And right now with 3:43 to go in the third quarter, the Royals are committed 5 fouls, so the Governors will be in the bonus the rest of the way here. And again, I can't help but stare at that 19. Again, Austin Peay's on pace for 60, 65 points. And right now, Queens is on pace for literally about 30 points in the ball game. And I go back to, we want it to be a big day for Nikki. I know her teammates feel that, her coaches feel that. You're so close. Let's get 1,000 points. And obviously, Nikki's been a huge scorer for them all year long. I think sometimes even your teammates could look around and be a little bit of a spectator, waiting for her to get to that. That was a difficult attempt for her on the break.
She's 2 points away from 1,000, 998. She has 10 points today and 4 of now 14 shooting. Oh, the backdoor feed. Cater inside, turned away by Balde, but a whistle. And it is Balde tacked with the foul. That's her fourth as well.
Nice backdoor cut right here. Westmoreland was denying. Cater cuts backdoor. You can see the high five at the top of the shot. That's good if you're teammates. It's not good if you're a defensive player trying to make a play on the ball. Pretty easy call for the referee. And you've mentioned all day, John, Cater's living at the free throw line.
Cater back to the line. This will be her 5th and 6th free throw of the game. Austin Peay will attempt its 26th and 27th foul shot. Compare that to Queens, who is at 4 of 10 from the stripe. Cater, who had started the lion's share of the early portion of conference play and late in non-conference, now coming off the bench for the 5th straight game. She hits on the second. There is Gwynn. 998 career points for her. Gwynn is fouled, and she will make her way to the line. A chance at 1,000. Check that. That is the 3rd team foul.
We're excited to get her to 1,000.
Well, there's the foul on Westmoreland.
So I'm just trying to think. I think that's the 5th offensive foul or moving screen by Queens today. That's a lot of possessions getting nullified by not even giving your team a chance to get a shot off.
Queens, another turnover. That is number 14 for the Royals. And those are the double whammies, because not only is it a turnover, but it's a foul. Hargrove, kick out. Haywood straight on 3. She is the sharpshooter on this roster.
The depth and versatility by Austin Peay is impressive. They are getting scoring contributions from almost everybody that touches the hardwood today.
And a foul away from the basketball. Team foul number 4 goes against Lanaya Foster.
John, just take that one step further. Haywood, Hale, Nelson, Foster, Douglas, Cater, all have 5 points or more. On the flip side, Queens has one player with more than 5 points, and we know who that is by now.
Well, that's how Austin Peay wants to play. They have some weapons. They have players who could score in different ways. Certainly not just Hale inside. And as you said, we've seen that balance today from the Governors. Here is Gwynn, step back, left it short. Haywood brings in another board. Final 2 minutes of this 3rd quarter. Largest lead of the game for Austin Peay. Douglas inside to Haywood, who is bumped. Austin Peay in the bonus, so free throws coming for C.T. Haywood.
How about the versatility of Haywood? She's 5'11". She looks 6'1" to me.
I'm with you.
Coach Young is not giving her the 1-inch bump or the 2-inch bump. I can tell you, coaching college for 7 years and then high school now for almost 20, coaches usually add an inch. I mean, she is 5'11" on the stat sheet. She looks 6'1" to me right now. And how about the versatility when you step out, hit the 3, and the very next play, we're going to ISO you on the post.
I'm with you. She is certainly taller than 5'11", and as you see, Queens men's basketball will tip things off right after this. Another doubleheader in a homecoming game. Should be a fun atmosphere as they welcome Bellarmine. Plays a really unique brand of basketball. Queens coming off of a huge win against then undefeated A-Sun team, Eastern Kentucky, on Thursday. There's Weesey, battles to the basket, uses the window, lifts off. Foster has it. Foster, kick out. Nelson into space, a crunching foul, and Nelson makes her way to the free throw line for free throw 7 and 8.
It ends with Nelson going to the basket right here. What we weren't able to see, Foster drove the lane, got a paint touch. I know I sound like a broken record, but folks, when the ball touches the paint, you almost always draw 2 or 3 defenders. That's what gave Nelson such an easy path to the basket on the next pass. Queens was in no position to get in front of her defensively.
Nelson up to 7 points, make that 8. The sophomore guard hails from Columbia, South Carolina. Very familiar with this part of the country. This lead has ballooned to 27. Largest edge of the game for the visitors as Brisker's floater goes. Final 60 seconds to the quarter. Haywood. Kick out, Douglas. Free throw line jumper. Falls off, stays with Austin Peay. About a 17-second difference, shot clock to game clock.
Well, and to your point there, folks, just a reminder, anytime the offensive team gets an offensive rebound, the shot clock resets to 20, not to 30, which is why you see that 17-second difference.
Douglas drops it inside, extra feed, kicked out, intercepted by Johnson. Queens can hold for one. Weesey to the basket. Weesey's fouled, and Tiziana Weesey will make her way to the line.
Good aggressive drive to the basket. Rare opportunity where Queens gets to the rim, and Huisi's actually kicking herself because she knew she had an easy three there. Unfortunately, it rolled off. She's going to get 2 free throws right here. Great drive to the basket. Again, no help defense. Jump stops off at 2 feet, and again, one she feels like she should have had.
So 2 free throws for Weesey. We touched earlier on how underrated screening is. I always hear coaches talk about the jump stop and how much of a weapon that is.
Amen. Amen. When you jump stop, you allow the game to slow down. And what I mean by that is you get body balance. You can obviously use your right or left foot to pivot, but you create time. Now, Weesey didn't need time there because she was going to shoot, but you can jump stop in the lane, allow time for backdoor cutters, allow time for your teammates to relocate for jump shots. So young players, drive it hard, land with a soft landing, jump stop in the paint.
Well, an illegal screen set by Hale.
We haven't had one of those in a minute 12.
It's been a little bit. I will say, if you're a young basketball player watching at home, you're learning a lot from Coach Josh today. The jump stops, the screening, the back doors. Inbound to Brisker, triple team, gets rid of it to Johnson. Allie Johnson is fouled just before the buzzer expired. That should be 2 free throws.
It will be, and I'm laughing at Hale's reaction. Never has a post player said, oh yeah, I definitely got her. I'm here to tell you, you definitely got her, and really for no reason. Allie Johnson's going to have a really hard time finishing over Hale. Here she is attacking the rim. If Hale just stays straight up, she swipes down. Did she get the ball? Yes. Did she also get part of her arm? Yes. That's why it's a foul.
We'll see how much time they put in the clock as well. It seemed pretty clear from the naked eye that that shot was off in time.
Absolutely. I don't foresee there being more than a couple tenths of a second, if at all. And again, just to remind our audience, if there's 3/10 of a second or more, you can catch and shoot it. If there's less than 3/10 of a second, all you can do is tip it. It goes without saying, it will be quite difficult to tip the ball from 83 feet. Looks like the referees may just be calling it the quarter and still giving Queens their 2 shots.
Christy Weed and Tommy Paris look things over at the scorer's table. 2 of our 3 officials, Christy Weed, Tommy Paris, and Kate Burrell is the 3rd. Austin Peay doubling up Queens. The Governors have that 5-game losing streak. It's uncharacteristic for this program that has had winning seasons in Brittany Young's first 2 years. Coach Young said that after losing 5 games in a row, any win is a big win. They picked up that win against Kennesaw State, but there was some extra meaning to that game because Kennesaw State actually has a better record than Austin Peay. So it wasn't just any win, it was a legitimate good win for the Governors, and we're seeing them carry that success into today's game as well.
Yes, they have, John. You've hit the nail on the head. And yes, it's February. Yes, it's getting late in the year. Every coach wants to be playing their best ball in February to March here, and obviously the Govs have done that this week.
Question is the ball out of the fingertips before the buzzer goes? That's pretty clear. There's the whistle, so it should be at least 0.2. At least 0.2 seconds.
Folks, in case you needed to wonder why our cameramen and women are the best in the business, you just saw it. Shout out to the booth right there for that outstanding camera work. The shot was clearly off at 0.2 of a second. I'm not sure why it's taking our officiating crew an hour and a half to make that decision, but we'll get to that shortly. 0.2 of a second, and like we mentioned earlier, we should have 2 free throws, and all Austin Peay can do is tip it from 88 feet away. I would love to see that one.
You'll add that play to your playbook if they pull it off. Oh, 1.4. Okay, wow. 1.4 seconds being added to the clock.
I have no words.
So ample time.
Scratch everything I just said. There's a reason we're here in the booth and the referees are making the big calls. I still stand by it should be 0.2 of a second. Now, with 1.4, Austin Peay gets 1 dribble. For every second you can have a dribble, they could take 1 dribble. Queens doesn't want to commit a silly foul.
Johnson splits the pair. Let's see what Austin Peay has in store up by 24. And it's knocked away by Johnson. Now 0.6 seconds, so you really can't dribble. It's a catch and heave.
Who knew we were going to get so much end of game, end of clock situation? If you can't tell, this is the stuff that keeps me up at night. I love it.
Yeah, pretty routine there from Nelson. No need to heave it up with her team leading by 23. We enter the final 10 minutes. This homecoming Saturday afternoon in the Queen City. Austin Peay up 22.
This is how it feels to live purposefully, to live gracefully. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before. Because the only way to be your best self is with your best health. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully.
You see that? That's when I realized I'm ready to start my own place.
Yeah, I'm really excited. All right, that sounds great.
So I'm making plans for right now. I'm going back to my roots and opening my own restaurant. Start your plan today with a Northwestern Mutual financial advisor and spend your life living.
Welcome to the Atlantic Sun, where heart-pounding moments are born and where champions rise above. Where speed defies limits and precision finds its mark. Where millions of fans nationwide cheer for excellence, determination, and fairness. Where public, private, and faith-based schools compete side by side, fostering sportsmanship and unity. Join us, because we're not just a stop along the journey. The Atlantic Sun is the destination.
Before a city turns to you for answers, before the stories that need telling are told, and our nation's biggest companies look to you to make their next big move. Whenever, however, you're called upon to step up, Queens will prepare you to do just that. Because here, Royals rise.
Max has been practicing to be a professional soccer player his whole life.
I think I broke my knee. I can do better. Let me take that from the top.
From your first real urgent care visit to full recovery, Ortho Carolina is there every step of the way.
I think I broke my ALC.
It's ACL.
He's getting really good.
Start of the fourth quarter, Austin Peay leads it by 22 as you take a look at the quarter breakdown. Queens did eclipse the double-digit mark in the third, but it's been an offensive struggle today for the Royals against this stout Austin Peay team defensively.
Yeah, adding insult to injury right here. There is one Queens Royal with more than one made basket today, and that's Nikki Gwynn at 4 for 15. Weaver's got one, Brisker one, Johnson one, Howell Balday one. Just a difficult day at the office on the offensive end for the Royals.
Start of the fourth quarter, Austin Peay and Queens, this homecoming game. Thrilled to have you with us. John Gross alongside Coach Josh Springer. And Autumn Moreland starts off the quarter with the long two.
The good news is that's another complimentary score. She now also has one made basket for the Royals.
Let's send it down to Hannah Brady.
Well, guys, Jordan Weaver coming back into this game for the Royals. She actually made her way over to the injury bench in the last quarter. She was stretching out her right ankle. She had to get it retaped and having a bit of some ankle discomfort. So she's back on the court. Good to see that, but obviously playing through some injuries today, guys.
Thanks, Hannah. As we move things along here in this fourth quarter, Nikki Gwynn now at the scorer's table, sitting at 998 in her career. There's Weaver, penetrates, a little too much muscle, and Hale has her 6th rebound. Austin Peay up by 22 as they work it inside to Hale. Through the contact, and she is fouled. Josh, what's impressed you the most about the way the Governors have played today?
Just their balance. Oftentimes, at the high school, college, pro level, you say, we're going to focus on X, Y, or Z, and that's the key. We just got the sheet right here. We've got Haywood with 9. We've got Hale with 12. Nelson with 8. Foster with 6. Douglas with 5. Cater with 6. They are equally impressive on the perimeter as they are in the paint. Their depth has been impressive, and so defensively, that just puts a ridiculous amount of pressure on Coach Brown's defense. That's the number one thing that stood out for me for Austin Peay.
And Hale puts a lot of pressure on any defense with her ability to back inside.
I'm going to go on a limb right now and say Hale will be playing professionally. I don't necessarily mean WNBA professionally, but I mean her body, her motor, her hands, her ability to finish. I could see her playing overseas for a long time.
Top 5 of the conference in field goal percentage, blocks, and rebounds per game. And a foul against Douglas. It goes against Austin Peay. That's the first against the Governors of the quarter.
So we've spent half of today talking about moving screens. Here we get a great screen. Weaver is set. Douglas tries to fight over the top, but you are not allowed to flatten the screener. Good for Weaver for staying set and then being physically tough enough to take the hit, which a lot of players are not.
Gwynn calls for the travel. Weaver is, we've seen her physicality all season long. Plays a lot bigger, a lot stronger than her 5'11" frame. Douglas nails it down low, finds Hale, can't get it, second chance, no, and then a loose ball foul against Austin Peay. Heads down to Queens.
I like the body language there by Austin Peay, and it's easy to have positive body language when you're up 24 points. Hale knew she missed a couple chippies. She went and high-fived her teammates. She said great post feed. Even if the result isn't what you want it to be, as a coach and as a player, you reward the execution and the effort knowing the next time it'll go down.
And for Austin Peay, this just has to feel great after that 5-game losing streak. Looking to make it back-to-back wins. Get back into the thick of things. They're in 8th place, but only 2 games back of 4th place. Just goes to show how competitive things are in the A-Sun. Westmoreland off the side of the backboard. And the freshman, Linnea Foster, has it. You figure for Austin Peay, considering how new this roster is, with 8 newcomers and 7 transfers, it may take until right about now for this team to find its stride.
Absolutely, John. Great ball reversal right there, and a nice turnaround finish there by Smalls in the low post.
Well, 2 points now for Smalls, the New Jersey native. Weesey, kick out to Gwynn. 10 of the shot clock. Gwynn sitting at 998. But knocked away and ripped away by Zapata Smalls.
You just know Nikki is chomping at the bit. Just one more basket, one more basket. She knows she's right on the doorstep.
Quarter 3, Douglas, who has that remarkably high release point. That shot is unblockable.
I agree. She can get it off against anyone.
Her numbers down this season at 18%, but last year 33%. Look at this form.
Beautiful ball reversal, nice skip pass. It didn't go down, but that's a shot Coach Young will live with every trip.
Austin Peay up by 26 despite only making 2 3-pointers. Here's Gwynn. Leans. Gwynn left it short.
Gwynn is trying so hard to get that look. Austin Peay has put a long athletic defender on her all day, and really the only shot she's been able to get is a step-back jumper. She's trying to get to the free throw line, but Austin Peay's defense has been pretty disciplined in staying straight up.
Top of the small, kick out Hargrove. 3-ball, Haywood. Off the heel. Gwynn is the rebound, team foul number 3 against Austin Peay. We just mentioned those 7 transfers, making this a pretty new roster. And Brittany Young was open about it. Said, listen, when you bring in new faces, there are obviously advantages, but some challenges too. You have that expectation that they're mature, but there are some habits you have to change from their previous programs.
This is the question every college coach is wrestling with right now. Do I dip into the transfer portal, or do I go all into the transfer portal? Because I want a 21-year-old, all right, who knows how to work at the college level, who knows the work-life balance, the practice habits, the intensity, all of that. But to your point, am I going to have a hard time breaking the habits of them being at their previous school for the last 1, 2, or 3 years? On the flip side, do I go get a bunch of freshmen that I'm going to have to be patient with? And we said earlier, there are 24-year-olds on the floor, so there's a physical maturity and emotional, mental maturity versus 18-year-olds. And you see more and more, not just with these two teams, all across the college landscape, the transfer portal is about the #1 talk of the town.
Haywood, one of those portal players. 7 transfers for Austin Peay this offseason, 5 for Queens, and especially at the mid-major level. The transfer portal is so important in so many ways because we've unfortunately seen a lot of the top players in these mid-major conferences transfer to some other schools. On the flip side, there are opportunities for players to get some really good playing time at a lot of these schools.
Here's the honest truth people don't want to hear. 80% of high school kids sign one level too high. They sign to win the press conference. They sign for the Nike deal, the Under Armour deal, whatever it may be. When people ask me all the time, and I've had players who are McDonald's All-Americans, top 5 in the country, I've had players go Division III and everything in between. And they say, Josh, can so-and-so play there? And now I say, well, can she wear a uniform there, meaning be a practice player and a part of the team? Sure. Can she start for them? Can she help them win a conference championship? That's a very different conversation. So I would encourage all players, don't just fall in love with the label. Don't just fall in love with the school. Fall in love with people that care about you, where you're wanted and need, and they have your mate.
Austin Peay by 24 near the end of this 4th quarter. Homecoming always a fun time at any college, especially here at Queens. You see some of the banners decorated by some of the different student groups and the homecoming festivities. Hoops today. We have the men's game after this one. There's a bounce house outside. I want to see you do some acrobatics in the bounce house after this game, Josh.
I have the trainer on standby with the AED, so when I attempt that first forward roll, she can be there to save me.
I think you can do it. I believe in you.
That's one person that believes in me attempting and executing.
You know what?
That.
All you need is one person, right? That's it.
I want to take a minute to talk about that homecoming nugget there.
Yes.
I went back to Wisconsin. If you haven't been able to pick up on the accent yet, folks, I went back in October for my 25th high school reunion in the fall, and it was cold as could be. It was 30, football game, but I will tell you, it's really special to go back to your high school. It's really special to go back to your college. So many great memories are made there, and whether you've been out 5 years, 10 years, or 50 years, continue to go back, see those people that poured into you and were such a huge part of you becoming the great young man, great young lady you are. I love seeing the energy on Queens campus today.
You could certainly feel that energy. It is palpable. A couple of big basketball games and the excitement outside as well as Fuller airballs in the triple. Hargrove in transition. Oh, what a feed to the cutter. Haywood misses the layup. Offensive rebound. And Gabby Zapata-Smalls finishes it off. And Jen Brown wants a timeout. And this will bring us to our final media timeout of the ball game. Austin Peay up 28.
That was beautiful basketball.
Austin Peay by 28, but let's take a look back at that last possession for the Governors.
Coaches love watching beautiful basketball. Post feed, catch on a jump stop, beautiful dive by C.T. Haywood down the lane. Now, she missed the first one, but then they were able to follow it up and get the deuce.
Austin Peay on its way to a consecutive conference win after losing 5 in a row. Here is Nikki Gwynn. Can she reach the 1,000 career point mark? She's at 998. She spins off the mark, right into the hands of Foster. impressive performance on both sides of the floor for the Governors. And same play, this time Ward called for the foul.
I'm impressed with Austin Peay not over-penetrating. And what I mean by that, they get a paint touch, they jump stop, and then they wait for cutters. And you can see they were patient on that possession multiple times, waiting for an open teammate to cut to the rim. The freshman Foster still in the game, going to the line.
That is the 5th foul against Kamaya Ward, who exits. And Hawa Balde replaces her. Balde has 4 fouls.
Well, let me go back to what I just said. I was surprised Foster was still in the game, and then I remembered they're only suiting up 8 players today. They have a lot of people over there in red sweatsuits. Now, some of them are coaches, and my coaching staff at home is watching saying, hey, Springer, when are we going to be able to wear the sweatsuits on the sidelines? I will admit I'm a suit and tie guy. I love to dress up. I love that look. You can see Queens going with the dress-up look on the bench today. Austin Peay going with the red sweats over there. Gotta love it.
That's been one of the major changes since COVID, coaching outfits, and you rarely see this suit and tie look anymore at the college level.
I'm not going to lie, I love it. I'm an old-school traditionalist. I love it, although my assistant coaches are screaming at the TV at me right now. I know.
Weaver kisses it off the window and scores. And I love looking back to the old pictures of NBA coaches from like the 70s, ABA coaches from like the 60s and 70s, just seeing the outlandish suits that they would wear. We need to get you in one of those, Josh. Colorful suit.
I went pink tie today.
You did go pink tie.
That's about as bold as I can go. By the way, for Play for K, folks, after you're done watching this one, please turn on the TV. The great legendary NC State coach, Kay Yao. College women's basketball games all across America. Today and tomorrow you will see young ladies donning the pink uniforms and the white uniforms with pink, raising awareness for all women's cancers, supporting women's cancers, and then Monday night, NC State gets prime time at 7 o'clock like they should.
Yeah, standalone game, right?
Standalone game, you got it.
All eyes on the Wolfpack.
I had the good fortune of working NC State women's basketball camps 15, 20 years ago. You will not find anyone say a bad word about Kay Yao. One of the most legendary, most kind-hearted young ladies, coaches that I ever got a chance to spend some time with. Her teams were tough, hard-nosed, and gritty. God rest her soul.
Yes, her impact certainly lives on. As every year, the Kay Yao weekend and everything that comes along with it, so impactful and important in college basketball and beyond. As Jen Brown takes the timeout, a 29-point game, but as a coach, I'm sure you have to appreciate coaching until the final horn.
So I'm chuckling because I have a couple referees in the area that know me, and we've been known to be up 32 points or down 32, hopefully not too often, and I will call timeout with 13 seconds left or a minute 10 left because, yes, we're coaches, but we're teachers. And no matter what the scoreboard says, our young ladies and our team always has something to learn. So, yes, right now it doesn't look good for Queens. But guess what? The next time out, they may be down 1 with 2:44 to go and run this exact same action, and they want those young ladies to be confident that they can do it.
Let's go to Hannah Brady.
Well, guys, in that last timeout, head coach Jen Brown was looking to instill some fight back into her squad. She says, I need you to bring more energy. You look like you just don't care at all. I don't care what the score says. I still want you to play hard. You're better than this. And she broke down the huddle with work harder, and that's exactly what we're starting to see out of the Royals right now, guys.
Yeah, nice bucket there, and certainly it is tough for Queens, but that work harder mindset, that's all part of the motto they've had this season, which is elevate. Remember, it's only year 2 of this program as a D1 school. As the 3-ball hops off the rim, and Haywood able to keep it in play, but it's intercepted by Brisker. Looking like her NFL safety brother Jaquan, and she lays it in. Jaquan, Chicago Bear, your rival team, right? You're a Packers guy.
Absolutely, I am a Packers guy, and my memory serves me right. He had an interception against the Pack late in this season, but proud of how the Pack finished up the year.
Brother Jaquan, a standout career at Penn State, as the lay-in goes for Abby Cater. Up to 30-point lead for Austin Peay, who will move to 4-5 in the Big South, in the A-Sun. And again, this conference is so competitive. They are entering today just a game back of fourth, 2 games back of fourth. There is Gwynn off the screen, and Weaver's knocked down.
That's the second time this half. Weaver's done a great job of holding her screen, taking the content, and good on Nikki here. She rubs shoulder to hip. There's no space for Cater to get over the screen, something I didn't think the Royals were doing a good job of in the first half. Much better. We've got a minute 8. Nikki going to the line right here. No, baseline, sideline, one of those lines. All right, we're sideline out of bounds. Let's see if Nikki can hit that 1,000-point mark.
1:08 to go. Nikki Gwynn on 1,000 watch. She's been sitting on 998. Here she is. Her first season at Queens after a couple of years at South Carolina State. Gwynn, kick out to Shaw, the former Austin Peay player. Back to Gwynn for 1,000. Left it short. The freshman, Foster, trying to get it back. Bit over her head. You could also just see in the way that she plays, and Brittany Young talked about it, the maturity from Lanaya Foster, despite being the only freshman on the entire roster.
I will just tell you, she doesn't look like a freshman.
No.
She doesn't play like a freshman, but some kids you look at and you say, oh, she looks young in the face. She looks like she could add a little more muscle for her body for this level. She looks like she belongs, and obviously she's proven that over and over this year.
And there it is, 1,000 career points for Nicole Gwynn, the 16th Queens Royal to reach that impressive mark after Adia Brisker did it earlier this season.
Congratulations, Nikki. Truly remarkable.
Gwynn, who started her career 2 seasons at South Carolina State as the leading scorer, the Hartford, Connecticut native, the daughter of former UConn guard John Gwynn, at 1,000. But Austin Peay victorious 63-38 as the Governors holds the Royals to a season low 38, and Austin Peay back-to-back wins. Hey, after 5 straight losses, it can certainly get tough, but I'm sure they are thrilled to now have consecutive wins.
That bus ride back to Clarksville, Tennessee will be a joyous one as Austin Peay doubled up, getting 2 wins this week. And anytime you can hold your opponent under 40 points like Austin Peay just did, you know Coach Young will be thrilled with that.
Coach Young said that her motto is to double up, which means win both games each week. She did exactly that this week, beating Kennesaw State earlier in the week 61-50, and a win today at 63-38 over the Queens Royals as Austin Peay moves to 11-12, 4-5 in the A-Sun. Queens drops to 6-16, 0-9 in conference play. Now 48 wins in less than 3 full seasons for one of the young rising stars of the coaching industry, head coach Brittany Young, who is joined by her very own Hannah Brady.
Coach, after 11 turnovers to end the second quarter, how did you find that balance between being aggressive while still being in control?
Yeah, I think we listened to some things discussed during halftime. I think we probably finished that second half with maybe about 7 or 8 for the rest of the game, and I think that's our basketball. Thought we did a good job with some of our decision making, and that allowed us to get a dominant win here on the road.
Cece Haywood started off the game for you, sinking those 2 free throws. How did she set the tone for the rest of today's game?
Yeah, they were 2 big shots. I didn't want to tell her that, but I did think like early, even though something not in our control, her stepping up, giving us a 2-0 advantage, would hopefully give us some confidence to maintain that lead for 40 minutes. I'm not sure there could have been a phase there where they may have taken a lead once or twice, but for the most part, I thought this was a pretty dominant win, and CT set the tone.
You just broke down the huddle. You just said together. How did the team get it done down the stretch today?
Well, we had a heart-to-heart meeting early this week because the season hasn't been going as planned, especially in conference play. We started this week in 9th place, but again, we felt like so much of what we were doing was just self-inflicted. We felt like if we got on one accord, and I loved it because our young ladies talked to each other and told them, you know, as teammates, things that they expected or needed from the other person. And we were able to double up this week and get 2 wins, and hopefully we can just use this momentum one day at a time, Hannah, just to keep it going.
Well, enjoy this one. Congratulations.
We will. Have a great one.
Bye. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Hannah. Thanks, Coach. Austin Peay remains on the road as they take on North Florida next Wednesday. Queens on the road for consecutive games after this. So, for Josh Springer, Hannah Brady, our entire fantastic crew led by Jim Piscatelli and Jacob Frank, my name is John Gross saying so long from Charlotte, where Austin Peay takes down Queens 63-38. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.